Welcome to Thriving Together, the podcast that uplifts and supports women of faith on their journey to success in life and business. Join co hosts Corinne and Kira as they bring you faith infused content and inspiring conversations that empower you to unlock your true potential. From
Hi, guys. Welcome back to this new episode. This is Corinne, your co host, and we have Kira, your host.
Hello.
Hi. So let me read this for you guys. It's it's a saying that's from the book of John Maxwell, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. So it says, I believe the bottom line in leadership isn't how far we advance ourselves, but how far we advance others. That is achieved by serving others and adding value to their lives. Kira, what do you think about this?
Well, anything John Maxwell, first of all, deserves recognition because I think he is the author on everything leadership. But I like the quotes. I like that you picked this because how it speaks to the core of leadership is not what is actually trending to be the superstar, but actually to be the servant and serving others and adding value to their lives. And I think in this day and age with our TikTok me generation, I think it's important to have this in mind that a real leader is really the one who serves. And it's what makes our leadership valuable. So I really like the quote and how it just sets things into perspective.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really good one.
So I want to ask you, how do you um what's your view on leadership in general, and how do you bring yourself or your true self into the game?
Um, First of all, I would say that when I used to think about leadership, I used to think about being a boss. And what I mean by being a boss, it's not just having a job, it's being a boss in everything.
Yeah.
But there is a clear difference. And I'm not saying that being a boss in the proper sense of what it is,
Mm-hmm.
is bad, but being a boss is different than being a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, because when I think about being a boss, it's like the person that's there to give orders, like you serve them in a way, you serve their goals, their purpose. But when you are a leader, we do this together. There is a lot for me, I think there should be a lot of compassion and love when you are leading.
Yeah.
Understand what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. So
I also
how do you bring yourself to the game? Like, how do you do that yourself?
so funny enough, I have never seen myself, and I'm honest, I have never seen or I've never thought about myself as a leader. The
Oh,
only
really?
time yes, honestly, the only time that I felt like maybe comfortable or knowing that, okay, I'm a leader, I'm going to be a leader, it was during youth church.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Jad 1, Jad 2, all these lessons. And at the
Yeah.
end, the leaders, we're going to be
Mhm.
youth leaders. That's the only time that I felt like, okay, I'm on the path to being a leader.
Yeah. So wait, for our audience, so JAD 1, JAD 2, wait, it was a leadership school basically for young people, and it was a different classes, level 1, level 2, to train them to become group leaders. So yeah. Yeah, back to you, Corinne. Sorry.
Yeah, because Kira and I we went to the same church when we were teenagers. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's it. But today I know that honestly, I haven't still, like acknowledged or recognized that I'm a leader, but I believe or I think or I guess I'm one. And for me, it's really about being my very own self. It's
Mm,
about expressing things the way I do. And I honestly feel like what maybe um an attribute that I have that maybe sets me apart is I'm very like I have goals. I have this
Yeah.
direction that I follow, and I know that that's one attribute that leaders do have,
Yeah.
and I try to lead with my heart.
I like that. And I think maybe the view that we have of personal leadership, it's very positional or transactional. So we consider like if someone has this position or the title, then the person is a leader. But actually, I mean, you're a mom. You lead your family. That's a big thing, underestimated, underpaid, if ever paid. But that's first of all a super great leadership position because we are all byproducts of what our parents have infused in us in terms of their leadership qualities, how they've led us in life, and we are literally the result of their leadership. So I think just that is very underrated, but it's a strong leadership role in general. And I think to me leadership also is service. So once someone starts serving others and others follow through in the service or accept or acknowledge that service, I definitely can identify that person as a leader, a servant leader. Of course, there are different leadership styles and all that, but I think yeah, showing up as yourself in the way you serve people is definitely a proof of your leadership.
Let
Um
me answer your question.
yeah.
Do you think anybody can be a leader?
Do I think yeah, I think anybody has the potential to be a leader. Why? Because anybody can serve.
Okay.
Basically, anybody can serve. Now, is anybody does anybody has the capacity to be a good leader? That's another discussion, Anybody can take the lead and serve and be at the forefront of either a project or something, an initiative. But also I think we are also graced in different capacities in different areas. So I can be a leader, for example, in my personal life, being a leader at home, and I'll definitely be a team player outside, for example, in my office, but it doesn't mean that I don't have leadership skills or capacities. I do. I just express them in different roles, in different positions, in separate ways, but I do have the skills on the inside of me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
So, can you share a moment when, now that we've established that we all can be leaders, can you share a moment when being your authentic self totally rocked your leadership boat?
Okay, I have this example that's coming to my mind,
Yeah.
and it's very recent. So last year, at
Oh.
the end of the year,
Mhm.
December, I had with a friend, we had planned to organize like a night, a pajama night where it wasn't gonna be about God. It was just gonna be about, like drinking wine, chit chatting,
Yeah.
just having a good time. And where I was on board with that. But when my authentic self kicked in, this one was when I started thinking about the way I wanted my year to be.
Yeah.
And I wanted everything to be about God's plan for me and for my family, for my life.
Mm.
I remember telling my friend because I was kind of, and then I had another friend who had something else. And I decided to take the lead and say, hey, this is how my year is going to be. And though I'm still on board with getting together for a pajama night, I want this to be different. Like it's going to be a prayer and praise night.
Girl.
Yeah. And, everybody was on board and we had an amazing time.
Yeah.
I think it was a very authentic way that, I showed I was honest with what I wanted, with who I was and with who I am in this season. And that happened.
Oh wow. That congrats. I'm happy that you were able to show up and grace your friends with your leadership. And I hope this year you keep doing that. So, talking about leadership also, I know it's not just about us as individuals, it's also about people who inspire us. And in general, I remember I saw this I saw this image. It was a meme or something like a joke, and someone said, name the people who inspire you, and the guy he named, so he was from a low income household, right? So
Yeah.
the mother was a struggling single mom who did everything to put them through school, and he named Michelle Obama, and I mean all the big names, and someone was like, "How about your mother?" Like, hey, you know. And I found that so funny because sometimes we just like to do name dropping and all that, but we forget that the actual leaders who are close to us, you know?
I'm telling you, and what you're saying is so true. I was thinking about it the other time, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, the exact thing that you're saying.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I
Let
know
me ask
definitely.
you, let me
Yeah,
ask you, okay, who are the people, the leaders in your life that inspire you? Who are, those people that speak into your life or that help you be the leader that you are today?
definitely my parents. Um, that's for sure. Like my mother, my father. I mean, in different capacities, but they do inspire me a lot because of how resilient they've been, um, their story, and honestly, sometimes I ask myself, how did they even make it? Like the odds were against them, literally, but I think they did good. I think I think they did good. The other day, I sent my dad a text, and I think the African father in him was shocked. So he didn't know how to respond, and he sent me a thumbs up and a heart emoji. It was just an appreciation text. And I was like, no, I get it. I get it. We're not expressive like that. But apart from him, from them, I would say my spiritual father. So I have different spiritual leaders, but my really our youth pastor, Pastor Peabody, I'll mention him, yes, because he deserves to be acknowledged. Why? Because his story is just, I mean, it's crazy. They've been through the war in Liberia, and he heard God calling him to missions, and he left his country with his family, his wife at the time, and they just ventured into this French speaking country. He didn't speak a word of French, and he built this crazy, super effective youth ministry in a couple of years, and that is leadership, because he I mean, he did it afraid. I haven't had that conversation on how he felt with him, but I know it wasn't always comfortable as a journey. It was very uncomfortable, putting your family through all that, but he raised other leaders, and for me that is like, hands down, like, yo, you know he's definitely my leadership.
Well, for me, I have two people that are coming to my mind, right?
Yeah,
I'll jump on uh, Pastor P. Not that he's the one, but I would say Pastor Caleb.
yeah,
Yes. I don't know. If I have to think about an example of how I saw him lead and how it affected me personally, I would say
mm,
Caleb, because he's our friend.
yeah,
Caleb leads with the heart. And
yeah,
that is something that I have learned. And for my example, particularly where I really saw it coming true, is there was a time in my life when I didn't care about God or I didn't want to go to
yeah.
church anymore. And you know the word they say back home, like you have backslided.
Backslided, the
So,
word.
so pretty much the friends, like the Christian friends I grew up with, abandoned me. Nobody was
Yeah,
checking. But Caleb never stopped checking on me. Caleb never stopped um, showing me love because at that
mm,
time I was living with my boyfriend, who is today my husband, Michael.
yeah,
But I was living, let's say it as it is, I was living in sin. I wasn't married and
yeah,
I knew that I wasn't pleasing God. But Caleb never stopped asking me, how is Michael? Even when Caleb came, because Caleb came, I still wasn't married. How is Caleb? Asking about them, asking about my life. He never at once asked me, like, you need to come back to church. What you're doing is devilish, da 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 da. He was just
yeah.
like, really showing me love, like, hey, I'm there for you. If you need any prayer topic, I'm gonna be there for you,
Mm,
you know. And that really marked me. Like every time I think about when I face a situation like that, like I see someone who used to go to church and doesn't anymore, like Caleb will come to my mind and it's like lead with love, don't
Mm,
judge, you know. Yeah.
I
That's for the
like that.
first that's for the first person. The second one is my mom.
Hey, mom.
Yeah. Honestly, the the Christian woman that I am today, I owe it to my mom.
Yeah.
My mom gave me Jesus, me and my brothers, and when my time came to embrace Jesus, I did embrace Jesus, but I saw my mom doing things, and not I think last week I was praying and I told God, God, I just want a little bit of how my mom serves you. I want a little bit of how she prays, how she seeks you, because it's just amazing. And yeah, and then all the other stuff as far as my mom is still concerned, like being a woman, being a loving wife, trying to be compassionate, even when it's difficult, because I
Yeah.
did my mom go through things. So she she showed me the way.
Yeah. How blessed you are to have such a mother.
Yes, and
Um, Speaking of that, it makes me think of inspiration in general. So, um, when do you feel like you inspire people? Do you feel like you're an inspiring person, first of all, then? When in what moment, during what moments do you feel like, okay, I did something inspiring, or how do you know it's inspiring overall?
if I think I'm an inspiring person, I'll say yes, I'm an inspiring person. And this
You
is
are.
not because I decided or I thought to myself like you are inspiring. It's because of the feedback I received.
Mm, mm,
So I did the things that I did without realizing that I was
yeah,
inspiring people.
yeah.
So, and I would say that's actually the best way. You don't even think about it. You're just being you.
Oh,
It's like you're just showing up as you are, vulnerable. You, girl, you can't imagine how being vulnerable can. I mean, showing your vulnerability to the world can actually attract them because they realize, oh, she's like me, and
yeah.
oh, she understands and things like that. So I've had people coming back to me and tell them that I have inspired them, and the biggest thing is really when I lost my son,
Mm,
and the way I walked through grief has inspired many and still is, even
that's a
sometimes still, but still today I still receive messages, like people telling me like I have my friend, like someone told me one time, I have my friend, she just lost a baby, her son, do you mind
yeah,
speaking to her? And you know, I don't know, it's just crazy, but I think that's how you walk that walk of being an inspiration to someone. It's just being yourself
yeah.
without having like, it's not like you're doing it because you want something.
Mhm.
I never shared my story because I wanted something. I just want to express myself.
Oh wow, I like how you put it. Like you never wanted to show something, but you just wanted to express yourself, and it's true. Personally, I feel like one of the biggest challenge to or blockages to inspiration is being super self-conscious, because once you are extremely self-conscious, you can just stop showing up and be like, I it's either the shame, like, oh, I don't want to put my business out there. Now everybody would know about me, and what if? Like I remember for me, when I started coaching, I was writing. Actually, I didn't even plan to coach. I was writing a blog, a personal development blog, because I was going through hardship, literally, and I needed like my exit door. I needed something to be like, okay, these two will pass. And I was in a relationship at the time. I still don't know how I even got in that, but I got in that. And at that time, the person was even almost not even literally told me, I don't want you to be online. And I'm like, excuse
Oh
you?
wow.
Who are you? Like how? No. people like you shouldn't be online, you should be discreet. It's always that very narcissistic, subtle approach. But so it was my way of fighting back and just sharing my ideas. And that's how coaching came about for me. But also I was very uncomfortable because from a career standpoint, it can be a weakness. And now I'm totally vulnerable. It can be a weakness for a diplomat to have his business out there because literally it's things that people can use against you in the future. Like, you know, I'll leave it like that. So I was very conflicted at a point on, will I show up or will I just stick to this career title and and die on the inside. And I just decided to show up. And yeah, so I know it can be difficult. It can be just the feeling of shame and inadequacy can just stop you from just showing up. But the fact, like you said, is not that the goal is not to be an inspiration. The goal is just to show up and be yourself. So just be authentic, and whoever identifies or whoever relates to your story will eventually be inspired. So I think anybody who takes upon himself to show up authentically will at a certain point will become an inspiration to others. Yeah.
Yeah. And you are an inspiration to me, Kira. I know your journey and you are a strong woman. Like you
Let
keep
us say.
showing up.
Let us say it's definitely reciprocal, girl. I don't know. Like the saying is, we don't look like what we've been through. Yeah. If that was a person, that would be you. So
Oh, thank you.
definitely, definitely. But on the same hand, imposter syndrome kicks in. Did you ever feel like an imposter? And how did you handle that?
Well, uh, yeah, I do feel like an imposter sometimes. And I think that it's just something, I think it's something, I don't know if I'll say natural or normal
Mm,
when you are someone that's out there to actually ask yourself the question, am I actually good enough to
yeah.
speak about the things that I speak? Uh, and I've had that. But the way I overcame it until today, I use it. I think it was 4 years, 3 years ago or 4 years ago. I
Hmm.
used to share. There's an example that comes to my mind. I used to share like really consistently the word of God with people. Like
Yeah.
it was more on my WhatsApp, but my WhatsApp at that time was open to anybody, so anybody
Yeah.
could see when I was sharing about my walk with Christ, and it was
Hmm.
authentic and it was true. But then, and I was teaching, okay,
Yeah.
like teaching the things that the Lord taught me. But then there was a time where I started questioning myself, like, am I really equipped? Should I really say this? Is this really
Hmm.
true? Or blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
And I remember the Holy Spirit telling me every single time that I ask you to speak about something, I want you to believe that I told you to talk about it.
Oh,
If at any given time you feel like something about something that you shared is not true, but you've shared it already, be
yeah.
humble enough to come back and rectify and say, I said this yesterday, but after maybe praying or thinking more about it, I think you should do this or da 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 da. And it's
Yeah.
about being humble, you know.
Mm,
So, so yeah, imposter syndrome is true, but I'm always going back to the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, you are my validation.
mm, I like that. And also, it still comes back to the point of the self consciousness. I feel like the imposter syndrome is very strong. The more we are conscious of ourselves, not that being self conscious is bad, but like once you are so focused on yourself, your image, the projected image you have, or what people think, um, the easier it's for imposter syndrome to set in. I think we're in a world where there is a lot of competition, whether we like it or not, whether we admit that we are faced with competition or not. For example, in the online space, we will have competition. Like it's a fact. Like just in terms of content, people have the choice to listen to your content or to somebody else's content. That's competition. So yeah. So we will always have that. And it's up to us to either choose to let me not just put it as a lesson, but personally, what one thing I've decided and I try to do is to feel like I have a unique voice, and maybe I have the same thing to say that everybody says. Talking about productivity, literally you can Google it and you'll have the tips. So it's not rocket science. But the way I say it, the way I break it down, the way I present it is unique to me.
Yes.
So that is worth sharing. So I always counter the imposter syndrome with the fact that okay, I am unique and that's enough. Like if I am unique, it's enough. And I'm okay. I'm really okay not trending. I'm really okay not being the most famous, not having the biggest follower count, or literally, I am okay with that. So it has helped me also a lot to just reduce the useless stress and pressure we put on ourselves.
Mhm.
And whoever
Yeah, I love
feels,
what you said.
yeah,
I love what you said because during our coaching session, you always tell me this, like you have your own voice from. So I can attest to the fact that what you're saying right now is how you do things. And I like that.
yeah. And I really think like the more we we just accept that, um the easier it is. Of course, there are deeper reasons why um we can be stuck with imposter syndrome, but we can't go deep in that today. But just in general, being less focused on ourselves and the impression of others, and just being in a position of service. If we go back to the topic of personal leadership, like I have a unique voice and I want to serve the world with what I have because there is someone who needs it. um yeah, that's just enough to go past the imposter stuff.
And I have a question for you, Kira.
Yeah.
I know that you lead with your heart and with your backbone, but I want to know, I want to be specific. Do you have a story where balancing compassion and authority was a real game changer in your leadership journey?
um say well, even launching a coaching business was it was a game changer, because like I said, I could have just remained, with that career track in diplomacy, and I mean it's a pretty noble career, to be honest. I will not even lie. um so I could have that, and have all the applause and everything, but at the same time I felt an urge for more, and I felt like part of me was not satisfied, and it had to birth. I don't know, it had to get out, it had to be out there. And also being dating someone who was literally against that, it was like even by rebellion this thing must start. So I don't know if I would say I was compassionate to myself, but I know I'll say authority, yes, I was firm on the decision that I have to start giving out. And when I started, I didn't know it would be in a specific field. I was just like doing, but I realized some topics resonate strongly with me. And so that's it really changed my leadership game, in the sense that it changed how I showed up. It changed in the fact that I could position myself in a specific niche. It changed the fact that I could literally go and register a business and not just being those an existing business, but going official. And yeah, I mean it changed in so many ways, and it's not over. Like every in every season, I always confronted with, will I pick uh my bold self, or will I pick myself? Best thing to see.
It is.
So looking at the future, what do you feel like? How do you see yourself inspiring the next wave of first women designers, mom, engineers? What do you see your legacy to be as a leader in the world?
Your question to my mind, my vision board.
Mm,
For years now on my vision board, I have a group of ladies,
yeah.
just then, a group of ladies. Initially, on my vision board, with that same group of ladies, I had Christine Kane. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had Christine Kane, and I used to, pray and think that she was a good inspiration of leadership for me as well.
Mm,
And I still look up to her. The one thing I want to leave is, I don't know, and I hope I'm doing it the right way, but I want to be there to empower.
mm,
Like I want to empower the women that are around me. I want to be there. I want to be at the backstage, if I can say it like that,
yeah.
like just support system to just be there. And one other thing is my daughter. Like my daughter is the very first person that I seriously think about. Like this is my how can I say that this
Personal project.
exactly this is my personal project. I fought for her like a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
you you'll be a great woman.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm gonna be the mother of that great woman. So
Oh.
when I think about it, it's not me, it's her. Like
Yeah.
I'm push her. I'm gonna be there. I want to serve you, Zilly. You know, because her name is Zilly. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to serve her and I want to be there for her. So that's kind of how I think about it. What
Oh
about
my
you?
gosh. To be honest, I'd say I want to see a generation of women who thrive. Like that's 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 really what I want to see. I think we see lots of women empowerment platforms, initiatives, trends, and which I appreciate and celebrate. But at the end of the day, I want and I pray and I desire to contribute to helping women have this holistic, well-rounded, successful life. Um, really balanced, not a super boss lady who is crying at night because of this personal issue, but someone who can balance it all, like a lover of God, serving the world, being relevant in her generation, wealthy, healthy, thriving basically. And I believe, like we said in the beginning, the personal leadership starts with us. So I want to lead myself first to be that person. Um, and I want to lead others to, yeah, to get to their full potential, basically. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's good. We are about to close, but Kira, I really want to take this time to thank you
Yeah.
for empowering me. When I think about someone that has really listened to me all these years and that has trusted in me and still is trusting in me and still empowering me, you are the one. And
Yeah. That makes me cry.
no, I'm really saying it. My heart is beating like, man,
This was not part of the
yeah,
script.
I know. But honestly, Kira, thank you so much for what you are doing in my life. Know that the mistake, the fact that God wanted you in my life and made and me in yours.
Yeah.
And I'm just like so expectant of what, like of how God's gonna transform this relationship. But thank you so much for being part of my support system.
Oh wow. Okay. Guys, maybe we'll edit this part. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate and in return, I know I don't have to return the compliment, but in return I want to say that you're one of the most receptive person I've known so far. Like that's I think the best way I can say it. The fact that you're just your hunger your drive, your the flower opening up is beautiful to see, and just the fact that it's so intentional. I'm wow, because trust me, I won't say I talk to a lot of people, but the couple of people I talk to, it's not the same. It's when people are open to receive, it's also easier to pour out. But when people are like, "I'm good," you're like, "I'm good too." So that I appreciate, specifically because we are friends, and it's not a hierarchical, dynamic, but you still allow me to be that to you, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much, and the fact that you remain a friend. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Then
Well, thank you guys for sticking with us in this new episode. I hope it's going to be empowering to you to be a better leader, to lead with your heart, go out there and be an inspiration. And we will catch up in the next episode.
bye.
Bye.